Hey everybody, I am super excited because today I have American bass-baritone Ryan McKinney here with me. Hey Ryan.
Hey Marco.
Are you familiar with video game music at all?
I played video games a lot when I was a kid, and back then it was pretty rudimentary. My son, who is 13, is kind of a gamer, and so occasionally I'll hear video game music through the wall. But other than that, no, I'm pretty raw.
You have extensive work in like modern compositions, right? So in theory, like you know modern styles of classical musical writing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we have a clean slate here. So let's wreck him. Let's just kidding. By the way, everybody, the first couple of tracks here, these are going to be copyright tracks. So if you want to check these out, definitely go to the full unedited video over on Marco Meatball VODs. Let's go backwards in time. This is from one of my favorite games. So this will sound maybe a little bit more like the stuff you're used to. But it still tells a story. This is from Final Fantasy 9, which it came out in like 1999. So this was written by Nobuo Uematsu, which he's like the father of, I guess in this case, the grandfather of sort of like, you know, he started on chiptune and he did all the most of the Final Fantasies in the early days. The beautiful thing about video game music is that it's all programmatic. None of it's simple, and that, you know, like you sung it in a million different sort of like, I'm singing now. It's not like that at all, and that's sort of what's interesting. So even something from 1999 can still have this emotional quality to it. It's interesting that, you know, something from 1999 has all these elements of melody and rhythm and you know, layering and stuff.
I mean, in some ways, it's also like you kind of see where like video game music is going by listening to that in a little bit, you know? Like, I love that there's a sort of Asian vibe, like pentatonic scale, and then the electric guitar comes in kind of out of nowhere, which I love. And that, like, I think it's cool about all these things that like they can just mash together all these different genres. But I mean, for 1999, that's pretty impressive. You know, I assume like all of that was done on super rudimentary electronic. I don't know how much of that would be live, but it's really cool. And then the voices, I mean, I imagine it's all...
Now it's orchestrated, and like there are different performances that Distant Worlds does a tour, and they take all the themes from Final Fantasy and they kind of lump them together. But I mean, back in the day, this was like exclusively MIDI. So this is Dragoon from a game called Drakengard. I can't really explain it to you. It's crazy. So they created a language for these two games called Nier Replicant and Nier Automata, called the Chaos language, and the Chaos language borrows from other languages, but it's completely made up. I can't remember if this track is from that, if they also do Chaos language here. I'm curious to hear what your emotional connection is to this piece, because it's a weird game that I can't even begin to explain to you, and I'm not going to. It's very crazy. It's in Japanese, by the way. Doesn't even resolve.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a crazy ending. Yeah, I like that. That's beautiful. It's interesting. I like went through different phases of what I thought it could be about, because in the beginning there's sort of like a jazzy vibe, you know, the piano with all that chromaticism, and then got to feel really melancholy to me, like some kind of regret built in there. And I love the like little internal rhythmic stuff. It feels like all this movement, and I thought, oh, it's like somebody running away from something.
Yeah,
there's some like regret involved and lost love kind of vibe. Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea what it's about. So when Emmy's singing here, like it moves at a quick clip, but her as a singer doesn't really deviate rhythmically, which is really interesting.
Yeah, her phrases are always long, so if you take away the inner rhythm underneath, then it feels like a ballad, and then if you put that inner rhythm in, then all of a sudden there's this like driving almost pop vibe, that it's almost two very different songs, even though she's basically repeating the same motive over and
over. I know. Unsung War or Faceless Soldier, which of those two would you pick? They're very different.
I think Unsung War.
Okay, it's one of my favorite songs ever.
It's so epic. I love those big splash chords, and then the just like pedal tone with the chorus above it that like builds in these waves. There's like a descending brass line at the end of each section that reminds me almost of something, and I can't figure out what it is, but I love that.
It's just crazy. This is literally a game about like fighter planes, and they have like a whole the Ace Combat community has this whole saying that's like you're a really tough shit until this guy starts speaking Latin. Because every time there's like a big set piece, there's the Latin in there, and it actually opens up a broader discussion about like we think of Latin from like oratorio or the requiems and things, but there's a whole world here that Keiki Kobayashi, the composer, is somehow able to take. You hear the drum set in there. It's somehow combining this like old with this new in this deliciously like fantastic way that just makes your blood just like.
That's maybe a theme through a lot of these things you're playing for me. Is there's always or almost always kind of this ancient element, which I love the Latin choice, right? Because it feels like the dead language makes it feel like it's somehow from a past that's further away. But then also, as you say, drum kit and like military, and in a modern military way, the little drum riff over and over. And of course made me think of things like Hunt for Red October. I love especially the big, like sort of unexpected like splash chords, and then it disappears again.
Let's get a palate cleanse. You said you were okay with metal. So
I am. Yeah.
I'm going to give you metal. This is Mick Gordon. The Only Thing They Fear Is You from, of course, the classic game series Doom, which is still alive and well. What was that? The fastest 7 minutes of your life, Ryan?
I gotta tell you, I think that's my favorite one so far in Arco.
Shit, I picked all these classical pieces.
Man, I love that stuff. My first thought was like White Zombie, and then we were in Pantera for a while, and then Night Jails. Yeah, I'm a fan.
I love it. There's another one I almost played for you where they have an entire ensemble of heavy metal scream singers, and they're all just screaming. Well, shit, I gotta change my whole thing here. I have all this like very, it's like classical music. This is how you Lisa Roscoe too. I brought you here. It's like, I think you brought me here to make me realize I don't like classical music.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is I don't listen to classical music all that often. I guess it's my job, but no, that was cool. I'm also like noticing that I think is really interesting. This is actually very similar to opera, but like if that were a song like you were going to hear on the radio, it would be half as long, and like the expectation of when something's going to change would be shorter, right? And like so everything's extended in a way, which I find really fascinating. Like moments where I thought like the drums were going to come in hard and it took like another 3 phrases. And I guess that's just because like in the genre of video games, your purpose isn't to sit and listen to the song. Like you're going through something while that's happening. So it's like spread out, which I kind of love actually. It's like a lot of the like, experimental bands that'll put tracks out that are 12 minutes or whatever because they don't care about if it gets played on the radio. It's like for the like whole experience of it.
So something really cool, there's a game that is out called Genshin Impact, and something that's really amazing, speaking of ancient languages, I really do feel like it's the modern evolution of classical music in that they are not afraid to play with and use different instrumentation. And so in this theme, Azdhaha is a giant monster. And he lives in a cave. They use traditional Chinese instrumentation as well as other things. And they also use ancient Chinese when describing the story of Azdhaha. Has such a Verdi ending, by the way.
Yeah.
This first phase. So we're moving right into phase 2 right now, and you'll hear a big shift.
again, like the mashing together of all these different genres like works so well. But there's clearly like a little more classical music influence in that too. I love the main melody in Chinese.
The fact that they also like take an erhu mixed with electric guitar, mixed with like traditional ancient Chinese like text mixed in with Western instruments. It's just like such a crazy amalgamation that I feel like we don't really get to explore when it comes to traditional Western operatic or classical writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a sucker for this in any kind of music, but the fast 6/8 that then shifts into the slow 6/8, changes the whole vibe, even though like the harmony and the melody are doing the same thing over it. That's really cool. The rhythm of it, the vibe is so like energetic, and again, like I love the sort of extending the melody over longer phrases than you expect. And the voices coming in was totally unexpected. That's cool.
It's the best part, and then, like the sick drop like that just like sets it up so well, and then it's just like boom right in your face. It smacks you. It's amazing. It gets better. That one goes hard, huh?
Yeah, the organ is like stroke of genius for that. It's like giving me old school Castlevania vibes, actually.
Yeah.
Double bass drum action.
Well, it has,
I don't think I've ever heard organ in like that kind of metal music, but it works.
That's what I'm saying. It's absolutely insane. The fact that this is like, this is a game made by one person. It's this combination of like metal and organ, and it syncs up. And I love playing it for classically minded folks because it's so different from what we're used to, but it has this like Bach, Buxtehude vibe to it, which is really satisfying.
Yeah, totally. That's really cool.
You sing in Russian a lot?
Yeah, I used to more. I haven't recently, but I have sung in Russian quite a lot.
Cool. Let's check out this piece then.
Это была, когда улыбался только мертвый спокойствию рад, а то, что случилось, пусть черные сукна покроют и пусть уже в безумие крылом души накрыло половину и поет огненным вином и манит в вечерную долину. И понял я, что ему должен я уступить победу, прислушиваясь к своему, уже как бы чужому бреду.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. That low baritone with the like octave above and super tight harmony in between.
Ooh,
so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It has this like traditional folk song element to it, while having a modern sound, if that makes sense. It reminds me of the Russian songs like, that I've studied, or even Eugene.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, adding the guitar underneath gives it like a singer-songwriter vibe. In the beginning, you like don't realize it's going to turn into a more like with the chorus and sort of more epic feeling. That's cool.
Well, Ryan, I'd love to know, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, and then we've got like 2 more songs to listen to, and then you're free to go.
The main thing I do is that I'm an opera singer. I also have a family I drag around with me. My wife Tanya, my kids Emma and Lewis follow me all around the world. I also make films randomly, which I started during the pandemic, and primarily opera films. Check me out in September. I'm singing Dead Man Walking at the Met to open their season, and even if you're not in New York, it's going to be in movie theaters, I believe October 22nd.
That's the premiere of that opera at the Met too, no less.
Yeah, it's the first time they've ever done a Jake Heggie opera at the Met, and the premiere of that opera at the Met. It's about time. It's a great piece.
It is.
Joyce DiDonato and Yannick Nezet again conducting, so it should be pretty cool.
All right, 2 more pieces, and then I will grill you on your impressions on video game music. It's a beautiful little tune.
That is beautiful. Yeah, it just has a kind of peaceful feeling to it. Also, the way that they handle the reverb and it sort of, I mean, I don't know this game, but it has a feeling of like huge amount of space, you know, sort of like
it's in space.
Yeah,
you're in space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans can become these things called exos, which are half not. And this apparently is the last thing they hear before they go to their eternal sleep, before they become this non-human. Yeah. So
that's
this
cool.
is like,
yeah, that totally makes sense. Danger, but peace to it also.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to ask you these questions now, and then we can end on this one. Having listened to what we've listened to today, has your opinion or perspective sort of changed as to what you perceived video game music to be, or do you feel like it's, you know, what were you kind of expecting going into this, and what have you kind of come away with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I knew sort of peripherally that video game music had made huge strides, you know, in recent years. I think that the way that so many genres of music are put into these things is really interesting and surprising to me, and how much it is, like you're saying, programmatic. It really makes you feel what you're going through. It's really clear emotionally, and kind of the pace of it is surprising to me, how these moments can be extended very much like opera, where it doesn't have an obvious tight song arc to it. Yeah, and it makes me want to play some of these games.
Well, do you have a PlayStation at home? You have an Xbox?
I don't. I should have one.
Time to buy Lewis.
You know, I'm the road all the time, man.
Yeah. I know. Was there a song that stood out to you that you liked the most? Well, this is what you are, right?
I don't know. I actually listen to like heavy music a lot. Like that's totally my jam. So yeah.
Perfect. This last song is one of the most memeable songs. It fills you with determination and with motivation.
Constellations of blood.
That's my favorite one, Marco. I love that. That's so cool. That singer reminded me of a little bit of Tool. The vibe of it is that I love that little like the voice and the bass and guitar all riffing together in triplets there at the end. That was really cool.
It's just another song that deviates from expectation because there's like 4 different clear sections. It's not ABA, which is so boring.
Yeah.
Very like verse.
No, that's the interesting thing about a lot of this stuff is that there's often like variations on a theme rather than like chorus. Or, a lot more like Wagner or something like sort of pre-composed opera. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? I mean, it's just nuts. You know, your schedule is insane. So thanks a ton for coming out and like checking this stuff out with me. And
thanks for asking me. I really had a good time. I learned a lot. That's cool.
Of course, everybody, there's lots more of this on the channel. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that helps us out. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Check out more. And we will continue the information dump to people that want to come and check it out. So thanks a ton as always, everybody. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.